were you with the characters before filming?
So I got sent the script, which brings me to you, and knew that it was based off of a really popular book. So I read the script, fell in love with it, was ecstatic to be playing Jane, and then I had the pleasure of getting to read the novel and getting so much rich backstory. So it's always exciting when you have the backstory in book form. It's great. So I knew quite a bit about Jane beforehand. And then we've been able to play on set, and Peter and Nat it's been a true collaboration, and we've taken what was amazing about the book and what was incredible about the script, but we've also been able to sort of have this canvas to create our characters however we liked, which has been a joy.
What was the most challenging part about this process?
Ooh, the most challenging part about the process. I mean, I think what's so amazing about this script is that we play ages 17 to 30. And so we get to go back in time and flashback, flash forward. And what I really wanted to come across was the different versions of Jane in each age, and how each love or heartbreak shifted her a little bit. And so we got to do that through wardrobe a little bit and hair, but also I think as the stories go on, she's a lot more jaded and a lot more cold, I guess. So when we meet her with Will, she's like, kind of has I'm not looking for anything, I hate love kind of attitude, but you see why she's that way in going through the flashback. So it's been a fun challenge getting to, and then also like filming it kind of out of sequence kind of throws you a little bit. So it's always a challenge as an actress to remember where you are in the script while playing so many different ages. How important is it to be honest and vulnerable in a relationship? I mean, I think that's key, right? If you don't have honesty and trust, you're screwed. But that's why I loved this story, the love story of Jane and Will, because they meet at this wedding and they're like, I'm not perfect. I'm actually really messed up. You probably don't want to date me, and here's why. But I think that's why it's so beautiful, is because this is probably the first time in their lives they have presented themselves as vulnerably and as honestly as they possibly could, and they still want to be with each other. So in a way, that's really beautiful, to like show all your red flags at the beginning and then see who wants to fight for you, and ultimately they do want to. Yeah. No, you gotta have if you don't have honesty, you don't really have much. The most romantic thing I've ever done, I think just because of what I do for a living and the people I've dated, we're always like, our schedules are like this, and long distance has been a theme in my life. So I think the most romantic was flying somewhere for like 10 hours just to see someone and then flying back. Okay, this is good. Okay, biggest green flag in a partner, I think, is when they're aware of their strengths, but also aware of their weaknesses. I think like having self-awareness is pretty important. Like someone who can't identify their faults, I'm always like, I think it's important. Best remedy for a broken heart. God, I don't know. What is the best remedy for a broken heart? I mean, I think when you get your heart broken, it's obviously, you need to feel what you need to feel, but it's so easy to get consumed in the sadness. And I think it's just important to sort of, like for me, whenever I feel heartbreak over anything, losing a job, like not getting a job I wanted, or a breakup, or like everyday heartbreaks, I think that there's lessons in all of that. And so I always feel better when I'm like, oh, what is this teaching me? Like it's happening for me, not to me. I think like that mentality kind of helps pull me out of negativity.
What's your biggest pet peeve?
Okay, I think same thing, when people, like lack of self-awareness, like really irks me.
What's your guilty pleasure?
Like if I'm consuming content like books or TV, it has to be kind of like floofy and lighthearted and mindless. I think because of my job, I just need like easy listening, easy watching. So like chick lit, they call it chick lit. So it's just like easy reads you can read in one sitting, or like reality TV, obviously. and ranch dressing on anything.
Who was your celebrity crush growing up?
Ooh, okay, so I had a few. Zach Hansen from the Hansen Brothers. Yes. Justin Timberlake in his NSYNC days. And like Devin Saw, Jonathan Taylor Thomas. Back when like Tiger Beat magazine had all of them on the cover.
And who's more romantic, you or Matt?
Who's more romantic? I actually feel like Nat is probably more romantic. We're both sentimental and sensitive, and I think that that's why we've really connected and bonded, is because we both kind of see the world the same way. But I have a sneaking suspicion he is. I'm not. I'm really not. I don't know. Maybe I'm more like Jane than I want to admit.
Did you read the book in preparation for the role?
Yes, I did read the book. And because our script varies from the book, because in the book it's letters, and in our film it's stories that we tell to each other in person. But it was so great to have more insight into the character. So yes, I did a thorough read through, highlighting, underlining certain things that I liked about my character in the storyline.
So what do you hope audiences take away from the film, and who do you think will be shocked?
The takeaway from the film, I mean, I think that the whole moral of the story is like allowing yourself to love again, despite and in spite of all the things that have happened to you. I think it's like so easy to get hardened by life or heartbreaks or situations, and I think that it's okay to just allow yourself joy and connection, and sometimes love can happen at the most unexpected times. So, I mean, this movie, just when I read the script, it just made me feel all the feels, and I love just watching movies like this as an audience member, not like actually being a part of it. So it's just a feel-good movie, and it has a really timeless, nostalgic feel to it, from like the wardrobe to the locations to the dialogue and the music. So hopefully that it just makes you feel good.
How do you think such brutal honesty would play out in real-world dating relationships?
I think that brutal honesty, that weeds out what's meant for you and what's not meant for you. So I actually prefer that. It, like, just as Lucy, like, I prefer brutal honesty because you don't want people not showing up authentically, and I only want to show up authentically. And I think in the movie, that's exactly what Jane and Will are doing. They're like, they're at a point in their life where they're pretty wounded and vulnerable, and I think that they only want to be with someone if it's worth the risk, and I think that they can only decide that by wearing their heart on their sleeves and showing that brutal honesty. So I think we need more of that in the world, actually.